My beloved child, stop right now. I earnestly ask you not to scroll past. Do not let the hurried feet of the world carelessly step past the door I have just cracked open. There is a surprise representing everything you have ever longed for. A gift from heaven finding its way to you, right in this very moment. Do not leave in a hurry, because if you turn your back now, you might lose the most precious opportunity that I have painstakingly arranged for your soul all these years. Can you feel the atmosphere around you vibrating? A silent yet fierce shift is taking place in your timeline. I know you're exhausted. I have seen you collapse so many times in the dark, clutching the shattered pieces of your faith, wondering why miracles always seem to reject you. You have walked through valleys of terrifying silence, where your prayers seem to be nothing but hopeless echoes. But my child, listen to me, that time of silence is over. Every deadlock you are enduring, every tear you have silently wiped away, all are the price paid in exchange for the great surprise I am about to pour out upon your life. Time is running out for hesitation or doubt. This door of destiny only opens at a single frequency. And if you accidentally miss this message, you will lose the heartbeat of the universe that is turning for you. I do not come to make far-fetched promises. I come to give you the real key. What you are about to hear next are not ordinary tools of comfort, but a divine instruction. A roadmap for you to lay your hands on the inheritance I signed your name on before you were even formed. Do not let the rush of this life steal your destined moment. I am preparing to reveal to you the real reason behind all the pain you have experienced and how this surprise will completely change the current deadlock you are in. But this truth is only for those patient enough, hungry enough to walk with me to the final second of this conversation. If you leave halfway, you will not be able to recognize the sign I will place on your path tomorrow. My beloved child, heaven's time is counting down. Every arrangement is complete, just waiting for the confirmation of your faith. This is the opportunity for you to step out of the darkness and grasp the most glorious light of your life. Do not let it slip away just because of a minute of impatience. Now, before we dive deep into the most important secret, perform an immediate action to affirm you are ready to receive this surprise. Comment the phrase, "I receive the miracle," to activate the flow of divine energy within you. Do not take your eyes off the screen, because in just a moment, I will reveal to you a special sign and an important secret, a divine instruction I have kept hidden for so long, reserved exclusively for you in this exact destined moment. Your perseverance will be rewarded with a blessing that no eye has seen and no ear has heard. Listen closely, for I am beginning to speak. My beloved child, take a deep breath. Let your chest be filled with the peace this world cannot offer, and let these words seep into the deepest cracks of your soul. I know you are standing in the middle of a storm, and I know you feel besieged by invisible walls, the pressure of unpaid bills, the coldness in the eyes of those you once trusted with all your heart, and the terrifying silence from the plans you poured all your blood and tears into but have yet to see sprout. You look up to the vast sky and ask through choked sobs, why me? Why have I lived decently? Tried my absolute hardest, prayed unceasingly, and yet my life is nothing but barriers and abysses. Let me lift this veil of secrecy for you to see, for it is time you truly understand what is happening in the depths of your soul. You call this a deadlock, but I call it a purification. You call this a collapse, but in my eyes, this is the excavation process to build a tower far greater than anything you have ever dreamed of. My child, the divine inheritance I have signed your name upon, the great surprise I just promised you, it carries a weight and a glory far beyond what the limited human mind can contain. If I gave it to you right now, while your heart still carries the shattered pieces of your old ego, while your soul still trembles before the prejudices of the world, that very blessing would crush you instead of lifting you up. Have you ever wondered why pure gold must go through a red-hot furnace? The fire has no intention of destroying the gold. It only wants to separate the trivial impurities clinging to the precious crystal. You are the bar of gold in my hands. These past years, the heart-wrenching pain you tasted, the times you were betrayed by the one you loved most, the moments you stood watching everything you built turn into smoke. That was never a punishment. That was me turning up the heat of the furnace. I am using the fire to burn away pride, to burn away blind reliance on people, and to incinerate the fears deeply rooted in your subconscious since childhood. I am refining you every day, so that when that surprise strikes, you will not be someone easily swayed by money or fame, but a powerful, clear-headed, and resilient steward of heaven. Look at the deadlock you are facing through a different lens. Do you feel as if you are trapped in a dark room with no way out? And every step you take hits a stone wall. The more you struggle, the more the walls seem to close in. But listen to me whispering in your ear, those walls are not there to trap you, but to keep you from going in the wrong direction. I am using this deadlock to force you to stop, to look within yourself, and to realize an ultimate truth. Human strength is limited, but my power is infinite. You have run for so long on your exhausted legs. Now is the time I want you to learn to fly on the wings of faith. I am taking away false supports so you are forced to cling to my arm. Only when you have nothing left to lose will you realize I am all you need. I see you quietly looking at the people around you, seeing them seemingly move faster than you, success coming to them easier than to you, and you let comparison gnaw at your soul. You blame yourself for being inadequate. You feel this universe is truly unfair. But my beloved child, a weed seed only takes a few days to turn green, but a 1,000-year-old ancient tree needs decades to root deeply into the dark earth, enduring hundreds of thousands of fierce storms before its canopy reaches the blue clouds. Your inheritance is not a fast-fading weed, but the steadiness of the ancient tree. I am prolonging your waiting time because I am preparing for you a root system deep enough so that when the blessing pours down, no storm in the future will ever be able to knock you down again. Do you know why I allowed the deepest hurts to happen to you right at this moment? Because only those who have truly walked through the darkness know how to appreciate the glorious light. Only someone who has tasted the biting cold of alienation knows how to warm others with divine compassion. I am using your very scars to write an epic that the whole world will later marvel at. What you consider a humiliation, I will turn into glory. The places you were once despised, I will turn into places where you are respected. But first, you must accept this process with a patient heart. Do not resent the furnace, for that very flame is preparing you for your brilliance. Right now, your heart may still be heavy with doubts. I know. Talking about hope is easy, but living in hope when your pockets are empty and your heart is broken is a grueling battle. But look back and remember, how many times did you think you had reached a dead end? And then, miraculously, I opened a way for you at the very last minute. I have sustained you through the driest seasons, and this time is no exception. The current deadlock is actually a great pit stop. I am recharging your soul. I am restructuring your mindset. I am teaching you how to manage the abundance you are about to hold. You cannot bring the mindset of a slave into the palace of a king. I am forging the demeanor of a king within you, right in the middle of this valley of lack. You say you want to see a miracle immediately. The greatest miracle is not something dropping from the sky, but your silent transformation right in the midst of adversity. When you can smile in the storm because you know I am there. When you can give even when you are lacking. When you can bless those who have harmed you. That is when you have passed heaven's test. That is when I know the cup of your soul is sturdy enough for me to fill it with the oil of blessing without fear of leaking or breaking. What you are enduring today is the price of true freedom. Do not look at the clock of the world. Look at my clock. The hands have begun to shift to the position of the miracle. But my child, listen very carefully to these words, for this awakening will help you have no regrets when the surprise arrives. I am preparing to elevate you to a higher position. But at that altitude, The wind will blow harder and more predators will appear. To protect the coming blessing, I have begun doing a work that you might find very painful. I am cleaning up your surroundings. Have you noticed lately that the space around you has suddenly become strangely quiet? People who used to be very close have suddenly become distant. Promises suddenly vanished into thin air, and you feel isolated from the crowd you once belonged to. You cried because of that loneliness. You tried to hold on to the hands that were letting go, but you did not know that I was the one who caused them to leave. I closed those doors of communication because I heard the conversations in the dark that you did not hear. I saw souls that were no longer compatible with the frequency of the inheritance I am about to give you. There are people who were only allowed to walk with you for one chapter, but they do not have a ticket to enter the next glorious chapter. I am executing a miraculous rescue, separating you from toxic energies to protect the seed of the great surprise to come. Do not resent their departure, nor try to explain and mend what I intentionally severed, because there is a divine secret I only reveal to those who dare to accept loneliness to keep walking with me. Do you want to know why? My silence always comes with the removal of certain relationships right on the threshold of a major turning point. Are you ready to fully understand the secret shield I am putting up to envelop your blessing, preventing any energy leaks from souls that do not share your vision? Hold your breath, because the truth about those who are leaving and the doors closing behind you is the key for you to recognize the sign of the approaching miracle. I am leading you to a new land, where there is no room for those who only stood by watching when you suffered, yet want to share when you win. Let me show you how to distinguish between loss and liberation, and why I force you to walk alone on this stretch of the road to prepare for a reunion a myriad times more glorious. My silence right now is, in fact, the most powerful declaration of a new beginning. Are you ready for me to peel back the truth about the relationships and the final chains holding you back? Because only when you let go of what does not belong to you will your hands be truly empty to receive the greatest surprise I am about to place in them. Let us go deeper into the secret of the hiddenness, where I will show you who is truly the one chosen by me to walk with you into the promised land. My beloved child, let me touch the dullest ache in your heart right now, the feeling of being left behind, the feeling of being utterly alone in a world you thought you belonged to. I hear your heart sobbing when you see the people you once called soulmates suddenly become strangers. I see your bewilderment when the doors of opportunity that were once wide open now slam shut before your eyes without a single word of explanation. You ask yourself what you did wrong. You blame yourself for losing your tact, or wonder if you are being punished for some mistake in the past. But my child, listen very carefully to my whisper amidst this quiet space. The separation you are bearing is not an accident, nor is it your failure. It is a miraculous rescue that I am personally orchestrating to protect your great upcoming surprise. I closed those doors not because I want you locked in darkness, but because I heard the conversations you could not hear. I saw right through the dark motives hiding behind the social smiles that you could never have suspected. Do you know why I abruptly interrupted the relationships you once considered your lifeline? Because I heard them whispering in the dark when you were absent. I heard their skepticism when you started talking about big dreams. I saw the envy kindling in their eyes even as they uttered words of congratulations to you. I knew that if they continued to walk with you into the new chapter, those very toxic words and underlying jealousy would become energy leaks, draining the blessing I intend to pour over your life. I cannot let my divine inheritance be tainted by souls not on the same frequency. I cut those ties not because I am cold, but because I am a father protecting his child from sugar-coated blades. Understand that everyone who enters your life carries a mission, but not everyone is qualified to write the rest of your life's book in its entirety. There are people I only allow to appear in a single chapter to teach you a lesson, to help you recognize yourself, or simply to walk with you through a difficult stretch of the road. But when that chapter ends, they must leave. If you stubbornly hold on to someone whose mission has expired, you are single-handedly tearing up the new pages on which I am preparing to write glorious things. You cannot bring the baggage of the past into the palace of the future. I am clearing out your soul space. sweeping away the shadows that are no longer compatible, to make room for true companions, those I pre-selected to shoulder the coming glory with you. Are you in pain seeing yourself excluded from the gatherings? The circles you were once attached to, do you feel isolated? As if you are being placed in a spiritual quarantine, my beloved child. That is the ultimate protection. I am placing you in a protective glass case. The surprise I am about to hand you is like a newly sprouted seedling. It is incredibly vibrant, but also incredibly fragile against the toxic winds of jealousy. If I let you continue to expose yourself amidst the crowded masses full of envy out there, that seed of blessing would be crushed before it could bloom and bear fruit. I hide you away to nurture you in silence, so that my voice becomes the only sound shaping you. I need you to hear only my voice, see only my light, until you are strong enough to stand firm against every attack of the world. Do not resent those who turn their backs on you in your hardest times. Do not try to explain or beg for their understanding. In truth, I was the one who hardened their hearts toward you. I was the one who made your words lose their weight in their eyes. I did that so you would have nowhere else to cling to, except my arm. I am teaching you a lesson in spiritual independence, the lesson that you do not live off the warmth of the crowd, but off my breath. Your current loneliness is not abandonment, but a selection process. I am sifting your surroundings, so that only what is truly authentic can remain. Right now, as you feel your heart being torn apart by these departures, I want you to perform an act of faith, a seal to affirm you completely trust in my protection. Do you dare to accept this cleanup of mine? Do you believe that what I take away is only to make room for things 10,000 times better? If you believe I am hearing what you do not hear, seeing what you do not see, and closing toxic doors to open a new paradise for you, hit the like button right now as a prophetic act. Consider this a seal confirming you accept my divine arrangement, that you let go of all resentment to receive the shield of protection I am erecting around your life. I see your seal, and I smile at that obedience. You know, in the spiritual realm, obedience is the fastest key to unlocking the treasure. When you stop thrashing around to hold on to what is lost, you leave your hands empty, so I can place into them far more precious jewels. Look, the people who left, they used to make you feel small, didn't they? They used to make you feel like you were always the one chasing, having to prove your worth, having to please them to be accepted. I never want my child to live in such subservience. You are a child of the Most High. You have the blood of heavenly royalty flowing in your veins. I do not allow you to beg for affection from hearts that do not know how to cherish you. I took them away because I want to restore your dignity. I want you to realize that your worth does not lie in their praise, nor is it lost by their turning away. Your worth was ordained by me before the heavens and the earth were formed, and no human being has the right to change it. This concealment has an even deeper purpose. I am training you to become a leader in the new chapter. A leader cannot be governed by the emotions of the crowd. You must learn to walk alone in the valley before I take you to the highest mountaintop. These solitary days are when I am coating your spirit in steel. I am teaching you how to find joy in my presence alone. When you have learned to be happy just with me, no loss in this world can ever bring you down again. That is absolute freedom, a freedom I reserve only for my most beloved children. Do not worry about who will help you in the next chapter. I have prepared angels in the flesh to replace those who have left. They are people with expansive vision, people who will see the genius in you instead of your flaws. They are people who will push you up instead of pulling you down. They are very close to you. They are waiting at the next door of the journey. But you can only meet them when you have completely let go of the ghosts of the past. Do not look back anymore, because there is nothing left for you there. Every blessing, every surprise, every glory lies ahead. I know. There are times when the pain of separation hits late at night, making your heart heavy. Old memories surface as if wanting to pull you back into low self-esteem and regret. But remember this, I am the one who makes all things new. I can turn the tears of separation into refreshing rains for the soil of your future. Those leaky relationships, if I did not sever them, would wither your entire life. Thank me because I acted in time. Thank me because I heard the slander behind your back and stepped in to stop it. My beloved child, hold your ground in this divine concealment. Do not try to stand out when it is not yet time. Do not try to prove to those who left that they were wrong. Let your future results do that. Right now, your only job is to remain in the shadow of my wings, so I can continue to refine and cover you. This concealment will not last forever. It is only a season, the season of preparation. And when this season ends, you will emerge with a new appearance. A new authority that even those who once looked down on you will be amazed and bow their heads. However, before you can shine brilliantly under the sun of glory, you need to face one final barrier, the barrier lying deep within your own mind. It is the verdicts, the condemnations that people in the past have labeled you with. Do you realize that, even as I am trying to protect you, there are still echoes from the past tearing at your confidence every day, harsh words from childhood, old failures, disparaging remarks from those who have left. They still act like phantom chains, shackling your feet. Are you ready for me to help you break those chains? Do you want to know what I truly think of you, instead of believing the lies of the world? Because the greatest blessing is not money or fame, but freedom in your soul when you are no longer a prisoner of the past. Prepare your mind, because in the next part, I will speak directly to your deepest fears, and I will declare a new identity exclusively for you. An identity that no one can strip away. The truth I am about to reveal will make you burst into tears, but they will be tears of liberation. Are you ready to hear me declare who you truly are? Do not take your eyes off this journey, for the key to breaking every curse from the past lies just ahead on the road. Have you let go of the people who do not belong to you? Now, let me help you let go of the lies you are telling yourself every day. My beloved child, you have walked with me through the phase of cleaning up the external debris, daring to accept letting go of the hands of those who no longer belong to your journey. But now, I want you to step into a space even quieter, even more deeply hidden, a place the noise of the world cannot reach, yet a place echoing with the screams of unnamed pains. That is the room of the verdicts the past has imposed on you. Do you know why? Even when I promise a great surprise, even when I am covering you with a protective shield, you still feel a vague fear squeezing your chest whenever you think about the future. It is because, even though you have escaped toxic relationships, you have not yet escaped the prison within your own mind. You are still carrying the labels, the harsh identifiers that people, and perhaps even those dearest to you, unintentionally or intentionally plastered onto your soul since you were an innocent child. Look deep into the mirror of your soul. My child, I hear those painful echoes every day. It is the voice of a father who once said you will never amount to anything. It is the disappointed look of a mother when you did not meet expectations. It is the sarcasm of an old friend, someone like you expects to be successful, or more bitterly, it is the condemnation of someone you once loved deeply. You don't deserve to be happy. Those words, you thought you had forgotten, thought you had buried under the dust of time. But in reality, they are silently operating like death sentences, shackling your steps right on the threshold of your divine inheritance. My beloved child, listen to my decree. You are not what the world labels you. You are not a mistake of creation. You are not a failure like what the numbers in your bank account or the stumbles of your past are trying to tell you. You are a masterpiece, a magnum opus that my own hands molded from the dust and into which I breathed the breath of eternal life. The world looks at you and sees only shattered pieces. But I look at you and see a mosaic made of the most precious jewels. People look at your scars and see shame, while I look at them and see medals of resilience. How long have you lived in insecurity because you believed the lies of the enemy? How long have you rejected brilliant opportunities just because the voice inside you whispered, "You are not good enough. You are not beautiful enough. You are not perfect enough"? It breaks my heart to see my child begging for validation from people who are equally flawed, while the very creator of this entire universe is standing here declaring your greatness. You do not need to become perfect to be loved by me. You are loved. Therefore, you are already perfect in my eyes. Every verdict the past pasted on you, every curse of lack, loneliness, or inadequacy, I will break them right in this very second. But my child, my power can only operate when you agree to renounce that verdict. You cannot walk into the palace wearing the ragged clothes of a spiritual slave. You must dare to strip them off. You must dare to look straight at the ghosts of the past and say, "You no longer have the right to define me, because my Father has decreed otherwise." Today, I want to perform a soul reformatting ritual for you. I want you to use your own voice to overpower those toxic echoes. I want you to re-establish your true identity before the witness of all heaven and hell. This is not just a psychological act. This is a spiritual battle to reclaim the mastery over your life. Do not let the words of mankind suppress my decree for another second. If you thirst for freedom, if you want to break every chain that has bound your mind for so long, take this action immediately. Write down in the comments section. Write it boldly like an oath before the entire universe. I am a child of the Most High. Every word you write will be like a hammer of power, smashing the old verdicts, wiping clean the lying labels, and activating the royal blood flowing in your soul. I see your written words. I see the chains beginning to crack. Do you feel a new surge of strength weaving into every cell? That is the power of truth. The truth will set you free. From this moment on, you are no longer a slave to sorrowful memories. You are no longer a victim of derogatory words. You are an heir, a conqueror, a bearer of heavenly light. Understand this, I do not look at what you have lost. I look at what remains within you and what I am about to fill. A master potter never throws away a cracked clay pot. He will use liquid gold to mend those cracks, making it more precious and beautiful than it was in the beginning. Your wounds are exactly where I will pour the pure gold of grace. Your coming blessing will be so brilliant that those who once looked down on you will be astonished and ask themselves, how could someone once so shattered become so glorious? The only answer is, because you have me. However, my beloved child, after being healed and reformatted, you will enter a phase that I know you will find very difficult to comprehend. That is the art of waiting. Your external environment has been cleaned up. Your internal worth has been restored. So why hasn't the blessing crashed down instantly? Why? After you have declared your faith, does the sky sometimes still hold such a strangely vast silence? Do not let that silence discourage you. My silence right now is like the silence of a teacher during an exam, or the silence of a gardener when the seed is silently sprouting under the dark earth. There is one final lesson, a lesson in steadfastness that you must master before the inheritance is fully transferred into your hands. Did you know that many people have lost their blessing simply because they gave up in the exact last 5 minutes before dawn broke? Do you want to know what I am doing in the moments I seem the most silent? Are you ready to learn how to see in the dark and hold your ground when all outward signs seem unchanged? Keep walking with me, because in the next part, I will show you the secret of powerful stillness, where your faith will be refined into pure gold. Ready to receive the greatest surprise I have promised? You have been freed from the old verdict. Now, learn how to stand firm in the silence of heaven, because it is within that stillness that the miracle is taking shape, my beloved child. After the chains of past verdicts have been smashed, after you bravely wrote down your true identity as a child of the Most High, I see your soul starting to feel lighter. But right after that glorious moment of liberation, I also see a new anxiety creeping into your mind. You look around, looking at a reality that has yet to change much. Your pockets are not yet fuller. The hardships are still there, and the sky seems to sink back into an immense stillness. You begin to ask yourself, Father, I have obeyed. I have trusted. I have let go. So why is everything still so silent? Where is the miracle you promised? The surprise you spoke of? Let me comfort you with this divine truth. My silence is never my absence. In my kingdom, the greatest works are always accomplished in absolute stillness. Have you ever wondered why the teacher always stays silent during a test? It is not because the teacher doesn't know the answers, nor is it because the teacher has abandoned the classroom. The teacher is silent because that is the time for the student to prove what they have learned. My silence right now is the exam hour of your faith. I am watching to see if, when there are no more explosive emotions, when there are no more brilliant signs, you are still faithful enough to stand firm on my promises. My child, look at the laws of nature that I established. A seed germinates best when it is buried deep under the dark earth, where no one sees it, where no one claps and praises it. In that darkness, a fierce transformation is taking place. The old shell must crack open. The young roots must pierce deep into the cold earth to find water. If at that moment the seed loses patience and demands to rise to the surface immediately when its roots are not yet solid, it will dry up and die under the very first sunlight. Your waiting right now is the rooting phase. I am keeping you in stillness so you learn how to draw strength from me, rather than from praises or external signs. I am silent so your ego can completely melt away, making room for a new, more resilient, and profound self. I know, waiting is a painful art. It tests your patience to the absolute limit. The enemy will use this silence to whisper in your ear, see, nothing is happening. God has forgotten you. What you heard was just your own delusion. Do not believe it. Those are the final lies of a soon-to-be defeated foe. Did you know that many people have lost the greatest blessing of their lives just because they gave up in the exact last 5 minutes before dawn broke? They crossed an entire long desert. They endured 100,000 trials. But right when they were only one step away from the promised land, they collapsed from exhaustion and doubt. I do not want you to become one of them. I wrote the script for your life not to end in incompletion. When I am silent, that is when I am dispatching angels. I am rearranging resources. I am influencing the hearts of those who will help you. And I am clearing out the very last obstacles on the path leading you to your inheritance. What you see is silence. But what I am doing is an all-out offensive in the spiritual realm. My miracles are never late. They only arrive at the exact moment you are fully ready to possess them without being corrupted by them. The art of waiting is also how I teach you about spiritual endurance. A winner is not the one who runs the fastest, but the one with the capacity to endure the longest. I am forging within you a kind of faith that does not depend on circumstances. A kind of faith where even if the world crumbles, even if every door closes, you can still stand firm and say, I know whom I have believed. When you reach that state, you become unbeatable, and that is precisely when you are worthy to carry the glory of my kingdom on your shoulders. My silence is a gift. It helps you realize that your worth lies in your relationship with me, not in what I bestow. Imagine a blacksmith hammering a sword in the fire. There are times he must stop his hands, letting the sword cool down in stillness before continuing to forge it. Your waiting is the moment of tempering the steel. I am compressing strength into your soul. Do not look at the clock of mankind. Look at the heartbeat of obedience within you. Every day you still choose to trust me even when you see nothing is a day you are building another floor for your tower of glory. Every moment you maintain your peace amid the storm of silence is a moment you are affirming my sovereignty over your life. My beloved child, take a deep breath and smile. I am working. I am working even when you are sleeping. I am working even when you are crying. This silence is about to end. The first signs of dawn are beginning to appear on the horizon, even if your naked eyes cannot yet recognize them. The surprise I have for you is so brilliant that it requires a sufficiently large space of silence to be announced. Do not leave your post. Do not let go of my hand. when you are only a few steps away from the finish line. Your faithfulness in the dark will be rewarded with glory under the sun. Have you learned how to wait? Are you ready to receive the heartbeat of victory that is drawing near? Because when this silence ends, the blessing pouring down will not be like a light rain, but it will be a torrential waterfall. It will compensate for all the dry years, all your pain, and your waiting. But remember, a great blessing always comes with a great responsibility. When you are lifted up, my purpose is not just for you to enjoy it, but for you to become a conduit of light. Are you curious to know what that blessing will look like? And more importantly, what will you have to do to hold on to it in a world full of temptations? I am about to lift the final veil to show you the full picture of your inheritance and teach you how to never lose it again. Everything is completed in the spiritual realm. Now is the time for it to manifest in the physical world. Stay firm in your faith, because in the next step, we will walk together into the land of abundance. You have conquered the silence with steadfastness. Now, open your arms wide, because I am about to pour your inheritance to overflowing into your cup and teach you how to make this blessing last for eternity, my beloved child. Listen, do you hear the sound of the silence shattering? Can you feel the atmosphere around you shaking with the heartbeat of a new beginning? After all, the days and months of being forged in the furnace, after the solitary hours in the valley of concealment, and after you have learned the art of perseverance amidst the immense silence. Now, the moment of transition has arrived. The hands of heaven's clock have struck the exact position I ordained. I declare to you, the season of drought is over. Prepare your cup, because I am about to overflow your inheritance into your life. The surprise I promised you from the beginning of this conversation is no longer a distant promise. It is manifesting. It is the restoration of what you thought was lost forever. I am touching your health, healing the physical and emotional wounds you have had to bear for so long. I am touching the numbers in your bank account, opening up financial resources from places you never expected, so you will no longer have to stay awake all night out of anxiety. I am touching the broken relationships in your family, sowing forgiveness and understanding into them. But above all, the greatest surprise is the absolute freedom in your soul, a divine confidence that from now on, you will never have to walk alone again. But my child, let your Father advise you very carefully right in this moment of glory. A blessing is a gift, but it is also the final and most difficult test. You were faithful in times of lack, but will you maintain that faithfulness in times of abundance? You sought me desperately when you had no other support. But when every door is thrown wide open, when the world's praises surround you, will you still seek my breath as before? Look at this truth. Many have survived the storm, only to collapse before the softness of silk. Your enemy no longer attacks you with lack, because it knows you have conquered that fear. Now, it will attack you with pride, with indulgence, and with the illusion that all these achievements are the work of my own hands. I do not bless you so you can turn yourself into a star that shines on its own and boasts. I lift you up so you can become a mirror reflecting my great light. A star may burn out when its energy is depleted, but a mirror will always be brilliant as long as it stays turned toward the light source. My beloved child, engrave this in your heart. The inheritance I give you is not for you to build higher walls to separate yourself from the world, but for you to extend your dining table. I do not bless you to become a stagnant reservoir, where blessings are kept only to rot and dry up. I bless you to become a divine conduit. The living water from me will flow through you to reach other barren lands. When you give, that flow will only grow stronger. When you keep it for yourself, the flow will be blocked. I want you to look back at the people around you. How many souls are also exhausted, also despairing in the valley you just stepped out of? How many hearts are bleeding from the past verdicts that I just helped you break? You are the answer to their prayers. The financial blessing you receive is for you to rescue the destitute, The peace you possess is for you to comfort those in panic. The authority I give you is for you to speak up for the voiceless. This is the responsibility of a divine steward. When you care about the things I care about, I will care about everything that belongs to you right now. As the flow of blessing begins to touch your soul, I want to test the heart of the steward within you one more time. Are you ready to become my extended arm? Do you dare to let this blessing spread the moment it touches you? This is not just an act of sharing information, it is an act of spiritual seed sowing. My blessings are not meant to be hidden, but to illuminate. If you feel these words have touched the deepest level of your soul, if you hunger to see this miracle happen, not only to you but also to your loved ones, hit the share button on this video right away. Send it to a friend who is stuck, a relative who is worn out, or simply post it on your profile as a declaration of light. When you dare to spread hope to others while you yourself have just been revived, you are activating a great law of my kingdom. You reap what you sow. When you share the light with a soul in darkness, the miracles in your life will be multiplied in ways the human mind cannot explain. I see your action. I see the generosity of a tender heart. That is exactly why I chose you. I do not choose those who only know how to hoard for themselves. I choose those who know that a blessing is a river that must be kept flowing. From this moment on, you will see a strange thing happen. The more hope you give away, the more hope you receive, the more help you share, the more abundant your resources become. But be careful. My beloved child, the world will look at your wealth and success to admire you. But I look at how you treat the vulnerable to evaluate your soul. Never let abundance make you forget the feeling of someone who once had to count every grain of rice, every teardrop. Always keep your heart's divine sensitivity. Do not let your ego rise up and say, I have what I have today because I deserve it. Always fall to your knees and whisper, I have what I have today entirely by grace. That very humility is the strongest layer of protection, keeping your inheritance from being rotted by pride. I am preparing to bring you into great encounters. You will stand before people of power, people who once despised you, and people who need your guidance. In those moments, remember that you are my representative. Do not use your blessing to take revenge on those who once harmed you. Use it to make them ashamed by your kindness. That is how you win completely. That is how you prove you have truly grown in faith. The inheritance I give you is not just for the afterlife. It begins right here, on this earth, in this very breath. I want you to live a life so brilliant that just by looking at you, people will have to exclaim, this person's God is truly powerful. I want you to become a living proof of miraculous restoration. But remember, that brilliance is not to glorify your name, but to lead lost souls back to their Father. Are you ready to manage what I am about to pour down? Are you ready for your cup to not only overflow for yourself, but also refresh the lives around you? The preparation is done. The storm has dissipated. The door is open. Step into your inheritance with all reverence and gratitude. Do not fear the responsibility, because along with the blessing, I give you the wisdom to manage it. I will always be by your side, whispering in your ear whenever you need to make a major decision. You just need to keep your heart as soft as soil after the rain, and I will turn your life into the most magnificent royal garden. But my child, before we end this special conversation, there is still one final thing, an eternal covenant I want to establish with you to ensure that this blessing will never leave your house. Do you want to know how to keep this fire burning across generations, so that the blessing does not just stop with your lifetime but flows down to your children and grandchildren? Let us step into the most sacred moment, where I will bestow the final blessing and seal an unbreakable covenant between me and you. A new chapter has opened, and I want you to step into it with the posture of a most beloved child, one who has conquered the valley of silence to touch the pinnacle of grace's glory. You have understood that the blessing is tied to the mission of sharing. Now, listen to the final words of blessing, where I will seal the eternal covenant upon your life and your family.